The moment the mysterious pink envelope appeared in Hazel Brooks's hands, the classroom plunged into chaos. Everyone knew Hazel as the dark, untouchable girl who sat alone in the back row, hiding behind thick glasses and a heavy fringe. No one dared to speak to her until today. Whispers spread fast. "Did you write that love letter?" they asked me. Just as I moved to deny it, strange words floated in my vision. Here we go. The girl gets healed by a love letter, goes to MIT, and becomes the richest tech mogul in San Francisco. It takes years before she realizes who the writer is. Why is that annoying side character even involved? He's in for a rude surprise. Mitt, I stepped forward, heart pounding, and nodded. Yes, I wrote it. Actually, I've been crushing on you for a long time. Silence fell instantly. No one had imagined this confession could come from me. Hazel's usual cold glare locked onto me without a blink. Those teasing voices that had mocked her suddenly withered. Her irises were deep black, the whites of her eyes visible just below. When her face was expressionless, she looked genuinely intimidating. Her voice was thick with suspicion. "You wrote this?" "Yeah, that's definitely my handwriting." Whoever wrote the letter clearly wanted to stay anonymous. The print was rigid and blocky, every letter perfectly squared. I'd taken calligraphy as a kid, so writing neat block letters was second nature. Oh great, the supposed evil side character is making his move. Shameless, stealing the male lead's credit. Whatever, once his lies are exposed, the main couple will crush him so hard he'll have to disappear. Evil side character, how evil could I really be? I just wanted to get into a good college. We're talking MIT here. If this future billionaire could boost my grades enough for the Ivy League, my parents might build a statue of me back home. I rested my chin on my hands, sitting right across from her desk, my eyes practically gleaming. "So, Hazel, I've liked you forever. Want to give us a try? I'm not interested in dating." She slid the letter back across the desk and buried her head in an AP calculus worksheet. The classroom burst into mocking oohs and laughter. I didn't care. Not interested in dating. That wasn't a flat no. Yep, US evil side characters are just built with this kind of stubborn confidence. My secret crush angle had failed, so I decided to go all in every morning. I showed up with breakfast at Hazel's desk. Usually she just drank a cheap carton of soy milk to save money. I brought something different every day. Fresh bagels, warm lattes, toasted paninis. She looked at me with frustrated helplessness, but she hated wasting food too much to refuse it, so she always accepted. One passing period, she brushed past me in the hallway. "Stop bringing me food. I have nothing to give you back," she said. "I don't need anything. I like you. I just want to treat you right." She furrowed her brows and walked away fast, but the tips of her ears were pink, like a nervous rabbit. After school, I followed her, clutching that love letter I supposedly wrote. The floating comments around me were vicious, calling me a shameless creep harassing the female lead. I pretended I didn't see them. Pride wouldn't get me into college. I kept pestering her about her favorite foods, hobbies, colors. She ignored me. Finally pushed to her limit. She stopped and stared at me. "Rowan Pierce, what exactly do you like about me?" "I like that you're insanely smart." She lowered her eyes, the fire gone, replaced by hollow exhaustion. "My family is broke. My parents are gone. My grandmother's sick. Being with me is nothing but a burden. I don't have the time or energy to play these stupid games. Just go home. I don't care about any of that. You didn't choose your background. What you're born with doesn't decide where you'll end up." A sudden sharp light flickered in Hazel's usually lifeless eyes. She stayed silent for a long moment. I thought I had pushed too far and made her angry. "Look, if you hate the idea, that's fine. I began. Before I could finish, Hazel snatched the letter from my hand. "I'll think about it. Stop writing these stupid letters and focus on your grades." I leaned in closer, grinning like a fool. "So does that mean you're going to tutor me?" Hazel looked uncomfortable under my gaze and quickly turned away. "Yeah, gym class. The volleyball net was up, but one team was short a player." Hazel stepped onto the court. I rarely saw her join activities involving other people. On say in the game, she was intensely focused, serving 3 consecutive aces. When she jumped for a spike and landed, the wind caught the hem of her gym shirt, lifting it briefly. I caught a glimpse of her pale, moonlit waist, surprisingly slender. Her team won. I jogged over to hand her an iced water bottle. The guys nearby started whistling. The team captain laughed. "Give it a rest, Rowan. She already rejected you. Stop being a simp." One of the guys smirked. "Hey," and his voice trailed off as Hazel stared daggers at the group. "Persistence breaks down resistance. Let the man work." Hazel took the water without reacting to their noise and fixed her dark eyes on me. "Did you finish memorizing the vocabulary list?" "Yay." She had basically turned into my drill sergeant, micromanaging everything from the overall syllabus to the number of practice equations I needed to finish during a 5-minute break. Almost I got a little distracted watching you play. I was only on the court for 15 minutes. Who were you staring at for the other 30? Hazel looked down at me, her gaze heavy and unblinking. The pressure was intense. I hadn't really been looking at anyone, just zoning out on the bleachers, but somehow it felt like she was jealous. "Are you mad?" She looked down again and took a sip of water. I smirked and leaned close to her ear. "Hazel, I found another thing I like about you. Your skin is really soft, and your waist is gorgeous. If I break into the top 20 on the next mock exam, can I put my arm around it?" She choked on her water, coughing. "You." Then she stopped. "Going to study my vocab now." I laughed and dashed toward the shadows under the bleachers. When I glanced back, her face was bright red. Teasing Hazel was just too easy, studying side by side in the library. If my knee accidentally brushed her leg under the table, she would blush fiercely. When the mock exam results came out, the tension between us only grew. I actually made it into the top 20 in our class. I immediately went to claim my prize. She refused to look at me, her cheeks flushing. "You weren't specific enough. I thought you meant the top 20 in the entire school." I pouted. "No hug for me anytime soon." Hazel was a strict taskmaster. If I didn't finish my assignments, she would coldly demand I redo everything from scratch. She constantly calculated the gap between my GPA and MIT's admission requirements, pushing me relentlessly. Honestly, it felt like we were already a couple planning to move to Boston together. One night in the library, I stayed up so late I passed out right on the desk. I had a dream. In it, Hazel stood next to another guy. She had discovered I was a fraud who stole someone else's love letter. She was a ruthless, untouchable CEO, using her power to blacklist me from every job in the city. I was driven to despair. I jolted awake in a cold sweat. Hazel was sitting perfectly straight beside me, meticulously grading my practice test. She had single-handedly pulled my math scores from the gutter to the top tier. She finished the last page and her frown relaxed slightly. "Not bad. bad. You only messed up one of the long-form questions. Do I get a reward for that? Still shaken by the nightmare. I desperately needed some comfort. She suddenly stammered, "What kind of reward do you want?" Something I don't usually get. Hazel pressed her lips together, and for a moment, I thought I saw hesitation flicker in her eyes, but she quickly looked away, leaving the question hanging between us. What was she really thinking? Glancing nervously around the quiet library, the tips of her ears pink with embarrassment, Hazel whispered, "There are too many people here. Who cares if there are people?" "You," she hesitated, fingers nervously fidgeting at the hem of her shirt. I stood up and started packing my bag. "Since I'm improving, my reward is going home early. I haven't had a full night's sleep in weeks." She looked at me, bewildered. "That's the reward you wanted?" "Yay." "Oh," Hazel lowered her head, looking strangely disappointed. Under Hazel's iron grip, my grades skyrocketed. The whispers that once mocked me slowly died down. People were stunned by my academic comeback and even more surprised to see the gloomy outcast giving me the time of day. They didn't understand the power of bribery. Over the past year, I spent every cent of my allowance buying Hazel premium food. Her face was finally losing that sickly, sunken look. When finals arrived, I performed beyond all expectations. On the night of the senior class graduation dinner, I bought a gift to properly thank her for pulling me out of the academic trenches. But I waited until the restaurant closed. Hazel never showed up. Just as I was about to call her, my phone exploded with floating texts across my screen. Wow, the female lead met the true male lead at her summer job. Yes, he's so handsome, way better than that annoying side character. Can the side character just disappear already? The chemistry is insane. They're going to fall in love while working together. Who was this so-called true male lead? And what did Hazel's sudden absence really mean? I slowly locked my screen and looked down at the gift box in my hands. Inside was a brand new smartphone. Guess she wouldn't be needing it. I had tested the waters with Hazel before, half joking. "So Hazel, have you thought about making it official? When are you going to accept my confession?" Each time, she just lowered her head and stayed silent. No answer was an answer. I scrolled through our chat history. Just yesterday, we had been estimating our final test scores together. I typed one final message. "Hazel, thank you for everything you did for me this year." Then I blocked her number. She was never going to like me anyway. As the designated evil side character, it was best I got out of the way before becoming a stepping stone. Miraculously, I got the acceptance letter from MIT. The day the email arrived, my dad practically threw a parade down our street. The class group chat blew up. Hazel got in too, but she never sent a single message, probably too busy falling for the actual male protagonist. Over the summer, relatives gifted me a lot of cash. When fall arrived, I strutted onto campus with a top-tier laptop and the newest phone. Freshman orientation week. The late summer sun baked my face, but I spotted Hazel instantly in the crowd nearby. She was tall, with porcelain-bright skin and delicate, striking features, impossible to ignore. What was she doing here? And why did I feel a strange pull? Like this was far from over. She looked so much better than in high school. Without those ugly glasses, her cold, beautiful face was fully visible. Her eyes still intense and shadowed like a comic book anti-heroine. I guess meeting the right guy really changes a person. Lunch break flooded the dining halls. A tall, incredibly handsome guy walked over to greet Hazel. They chatted and laughed easily, holding matching water bottles. That had to be him, Liam Crawford, the male lead from all the comments. He was undeniably good-looking, athletic, and carried himself with effortless confidence. Suddenly, Hazel's eyes locked onto mine across the quad. I froze, unsure whether to wave or pretend I didn't see her. She quickly looked away and turned back to Liam as they walked off together. I felt like a complete stranger. Had she already figured out I lied about the letter? My heart pounded, heavy and suffocating in my chest. That night, the orientation groups gathered around a huge bonfire sitting in a giant circle. Just my luck, Hazel sat diagonally across from me. We played a ruthless game of truth or dare. When the bottle pointed at her, Hazel chose truth. The guys around her burst into excited howls, pushing the group leader to ask the ultimate question. "Do you have a boyfriend?" Hazel paused, silence hanging in the air. Whatever she said next could change everything. "Yes," she said it with absolute certainty, never once glancing in my direction. A sharp ache pierced my chest, swelling with uncomfortable weight. A collective groan of disappointment rose from the guys. The dude behind me muttered, "Of course the pretty ones are always taken." She was the literal protagonist of this world. NPCs like us just had to stay in our lanes. The floating comments started screaming again, speculating Hazel had secretly fallen for Liam during their summer job, waiting for the big reveal. Had Liam still not confessed to writing the letter? My stomach churned with panic. Should I just admit the truth and get it over with? Suddenly, the music stopped. I was holding the dreaded hot potato. I had lost. I chose dare. The challenge? Pick a girl in the circle and make her blush. That sounded easy enough. I scanned the crowd. I barely knew anyone here, and definitely couldn't ask Hazel for help. She'd just shoot me a withering look. As I hesitated, I caught Hazel quietly watching me, a strange flicker in her dark eyes. I pointed vaguely in her direction. "I pick her. Is that cool?" The leader nodded. "Go for it." Hazel shifted, about to stand, but a senior girl stepped in front of her. "Row on. Looks like you need an expert." Linda smiled, leaning close. She was the first person I met on campus, the one who helped me move in. Aggressively friendly, mostly because she was obsessed with recruiting me to the debate team. What was she really up to? I had turned her down again and again. I couldn't even win an argument against a brick wall. Linda stood right in front of me, tilting her head with a challenging smirk. "Let's see what you've got. Freshman, make me blush." I thought for a moment. How did I make Hazel blush before? Right, her ears were super sensitive. I stepped deliberately into Linda's space, lowered my head so my lips were just next to her ear, and dropped my voice to a whisper. "Linda, I'm taller than you. With that loose top, I can see right down." The next second, Linda gasped, slapped a hand over her chest, and her face turned bright red. Gotcha. Honestly, her tank top was skin tight. Even from above, there was absolutely nothing to see. It was fully covered. It was just a cheap, slightly cheeky bluff. I felt a bit guilty. It was a trashy joke, but she was the one who wouldn't leave me alone. Whatever. I'd apologize later. The crowd erupted with cheers and laughter, desperate to know what I'd whispered. I kept my mouth shut. Adding to the mystery, halfway through the night, I slipped away to use the restroom. The portable toilets by the athletic field were pitch black and creepy. I finished as fast as I could. As I stepped out, a shadow slipped from the trees. "Linda, seriously, could you please stop?" I started. Before I could finish, I realized it wasn't Linda, it was Hazel. Her usually intense face was dark as a thunderstorm. I instinctively tried to step around her to get away. Hazel blocked my path, her voice cold and cutting. "Rowan Pierce, have you already moved on to your next target?" The night breeze had a sharp edge, rustling leaves in the dark grove beside the field. Hazel stood right before me. Even in an oversized orientation fashion t-shirt. She radiated a cold, untouchable elegance. She looked up, her dark eyes swirling with emotions. I couldn't read. My heart skipped. I took a step back without thinking. Hazel, what are you talking about? I don't get it. I forced a dry laugh, trying to shrug it off. Next target. We're all just classmates. It was just a game. A game. Hazel stepped closer, though smaller. She cast a heavy, terrifying shadow over me. Row on after the second finals ended. You blocked me everywhere. Is this what you meant when you said you had a huge crush on me? Her voice dropped low, barely hiding the hurt beneath her anger.